think, you guys, I'm staying in this hotel. So come with me. Let's go for a walk. I'm trying to I walk all the way at the parking lot so I can like take a shot on this building because it's so huge, you guys. Oh, look at that. Walking down. This is the Kentucky downtown, you guys. Downtown, yeah, downtown Kentucky. I mean, yeah, Louisville, downtown Louisville, Kentucky. Yeah, we used to live here, you guys. Yeah, this one wasn't done, right?
It was only just being constructed. Now it's completely finished.
Yeah.
The Omni Hotel.
Yeah. It was like a hot sunny day all day today. And then it was like all of a sudden it's raining. Live here when my husband and I we were assigned here, and then we got assigned to Ohio. Military life, always on the go. I miss this place because there's a lot of things to do around here, you know? So I told my husband, let's get back to Kentucky before we go back to work. Now that we Air Force, holler. Before we get back to work, we need to take a vacation so that, you know, for 14 months work at home since the pandemic. Now all military personnel has to go back. Most of the military went to work, yeah, like work at home. So now they have go back that way. Show you guys where we used to live. We used to work around. We used to live, and then we just walk to work because it's so close to work. this place. The only thing I like this place is because it's a city, yet you can go to countryside. See guys, Stark's building.
That's like an Omni hotel.
Yeah. When we just got here, we stayed right there. That's the building that I always like, the architecture, the exterior of the building. It's really beautiful. After sunshine, after laying down in the sun, and then here it is. Huh? Yeah, after laying down in the sun all day and then it rained at night. How sad is that? Well, this is all the things, all the magical things happen. Huh? Yeah. This is the
bands here on the weekend.
yeah, every weekend there's a band. Look at the architecture of that building, you guys. It's beautiful. I remember when I was like, when we used to live here, we we used to shop the stuff right there at CVS. This is the Hilton Hotel. This is where we used to eat. One of my favorite restaurants, Mi Casita. Remember we ate here?
Yeah, we had lunch there before.
Yeah, we used to eat here. All these tall buildings, you guys, most of them like an apartment, condos like that. So yeah, I used to hate that because I used to live in an apartment, and then every weekend we go home to our house. To live here in Louisville, Kentucky, is very expensive. You have to be a CEO to live here in an apartment or condo. The cost of living is like, I don't know if it's the same as let's say California. Which one is this? The same amount cost of living? Also, California is more expensive than Louisville. Wow. I don't think I want to live in California then, because I like my house to be big. I don't know, you know, everybody's is so crazy over California and Florida. I'm so sorry, you guys, but me, I don't like two places. I don't like California. I don't like Florida. I don't like Colorado either.
You used to live on the back side of the city.
Yeah.
And then move to the floor. Let's get it.
With Peloton instructors right near you.
Are you feeling
We used to live here. We used to live here, you guys. I don't like city life. I like country life. Like, for example, the house that we have now. If you buy that in California, that's probably what? 12 million?
Oh, the house we have now, oh my gosh, oh, really?
Yeah.
You can afford it.
The size of the house that we have now,
You can even afford the taxes.
we have like 7,600 square feet house. So if I buy that in California or Florida, it's probably like close to 25 to 22 million. Nah, I don't think I can afford that.
Yeah, you can afford that.
This is a restaurant, I guess. Hmm? What?
Get the bill for the place.
Okay, you guys, I can't videotape for a long time because it's raining a lot now. It's getting like really hard rain, so I have to stop. Sorry, you guys. We tried to. Bye. Thank you so much. God bless. Cheers. Hello everyone. We're here at the cave, in front of the cave. It's raining a lot today, so it's a good thing we're going inside the cave. So this is the front of the cave. This is the cave. And this is supposed to be and that is where the cave is going to. So we are going to be in a waiting shed area until the tourist person would come. Alright, you guys, see you later. Okay, we're going inside. We're now right here inside of the cave. Office people. Wow, they built a wall inside the cave, huh? Well, if there's a tornado, this is a safe place to come. Wow! This place is... Look at that, you guys. That is a stone. The roof is made... That's a stone. I am speechless. Okay.
If you're writing.
Yeah, I don't mind writing. Look at the wall. It's rock. Now this is safe place. If some wow, safe when there's a tornado or something. Look at that, you guys. So we're going to enter. We're going to their office. This is for kids to climb.
This is practice climbing.
I'll practice climbing.
Yeah.
I guess this is the practice climbing, you guys. Their office is inside, their office and store is inside the cave. It's amazing. We're riding inside the train, you guys. So we're going to the inside of the cave.
We're 150 feet under the ground.
Yeah.
Going further.
I'm going to be your tour guide and driver today. So the first thing I want to ask, did everybody brush their teeth today? Okay, not bad, about half. If you did brush your teeth today, you might have had some limestone in your mouth, and the reason why that's significant is because this used to be a limestone mine. So back in the 30s, miners would come down here and mine, and a good thing to see is these holes over here, they would drill 3 meters in, and they would put dynamite in there, and that's how they would blow out like the rooms. So that's how this room is formed, and all the other rooms you see on the tour. The way they would check that to see when they could go in is that they would send a canary in, and if the canary came out, you're good to go. If it didn't come out, I'd wait a little bit. But don't worry, no canaries were harmed that I know of. But yeah, so you're going to see a bunch of buildings and other things today. This is building 51, not to be confused with area 51. That's just where we keep our bikes. That's what I'm supposed to tell you. But yeah, don't worry. We're gonna have a nice little tour. So the first thing I need everybody to do is put their seatbelts on. Just kidding. There's no seatbelts. Gotcha, guys. So we're gonna take it way back if anything does happen, which we're moving 5 miles per hour. You're just gonna stick your arm out. You know, classic. You're safe. Alrighty. Now you're more than welcome to take as many pictures as you would like. The only thing I ask is don't hold your phone like super far over the edge. That's how you lose them. I've run over a couple phones. One of the other tour guides, I've run over his phone. I didn't break it, but I can't guarantee that I won't break your phone if I run over it. So just make sure you hold on your belongings and all that good stuff. Also, as we go down to the cavern, you're gonna realize you're losing cellular service. Don't worry, it loves you. We're letting it go. It's coming back. It's just gotta take a little bit because we are underground. So, all right, I'm gonna go through and radio, make sure that we're good to go, and then we'll get our tour started. Alrighty, ladies and gentlemen, just to let you know, it is all downhill from here.
Welcome everybody to the Louisville Cavern. I'm Rose, and I'm Ruby, and we'll be hitching a ride with you today. Now, I was born and raised right here in Louisville, Kentucky. Rose, I think you mean Louisville. No, I mean Louisville. Do you mean Louisville? No, Ruby, I mean Louisville. And if you say it any other way, you're doing it wrong. Well, I'm not from Louisville, but I got here as quick as I could. Maybe you can help us all get it right. Would you mind to give us a lesson? I would be tickled pink. Everybody, let's try it out. Okay, here we go. Bull. Hey, you don't even have to move your mouth to do that. Okay, everyone, give us your best Louisville on the count of 3. 1, 2, 3. Louisville.
Alright guys, that was alright, but I think we could do better. So on the count of 3, we're all gonna say Louisville. You don't even have to open your mouth, you know, you just whoa, and that's it. So on the count of 3, we'll all say Louisville. Ready? 1, 2, 4. I didn't get you. But 1, 2, 3. Perfect, you guys are amazing.
My phone doesn't use the
Great job. Welcome everybody to the Louisville Mega Cavern. I'm Rose. And I'm Ruby, and we'll be hitching a ride with you today. Now, I was born and raised right here in Louisville, Kentucky. Rose, I think you mean Louisville. No, I mean Louisville. Do you mean Louisville? No, Ruby, I mean Louisville.
Wow, this game is
huge. Now you are very lucky to have the best tour guide in the cavern today.
Chandler.
Very few people know more about the cavern than
Chandler.
ask any question, and all
Jerry.
has to do
It's just
Make up
dark
an answer.
and it's not light
Now,
enough to
the
go
second
for the
thing
cell
you've
phone.
probably noticed is that we are
It
underground.
needs a light.
That's because the first thing you probably noticed is that you are losing cell phone reception. You'll also notice the lack of stalactites, stalagmites, and billionaire superhero headquarters. That's because the Louisville Mega Cavern is a man-made cavern, not a natural cave. Natural caves are created by Mother nature. While the empty space we see here today was originally created by aliens who got really lost on their way home and refused to ask for directions.
Rose, I don't think we're supposed to tell them about the aliens.
I'm just kidding. It was actually dozens of miners who extracted the limestone from these rooms, down to a depth of over 220 feet below the surface above. And also lots and lots of dynamite.
During the tour, you'll notice a lot of these large rock pillars. These were left behind by the aliens, the miners, to support the ceiling above you. There are 223 pillars in total, which is about 5 times the required number to safely support a cavern of this size.
Because anything worth doing is worth overdoing, right, Ruby?
That's right, safety first. Each pillar has a number assigned to it. The lower the number, the older the pillar, meaning the area around pillar 1 was the first space clear. And from there, the miners worked their way farther and deeper into the earth.
As we... Now, we're at a depth of about 100 feet, and we are directly below the Louisville Zoo's gorilla forest. And if you look to your right, you may catch a glimpse of some moderately sized primates soaring through the air.
Our Mega Zips tour is the world's only fully underground ziplining adventure. If you want to get a really good look at the original depths of the cavern, this is the way to do it.
Zipliners will step off a platform and soar above areas untouched or developed since the time the original miners last set foot there. The tour includes 6 zip lines, a fun dual racing zip, and 2 challenges suspension bridges. If you're looking for a rush of adrenaline and a unique location, you can't beat an experience on our Mega Zips tour.
Unless one of the gorillas escapes, tunnels through, and starts chasing the tramp.
Don't worry, that was a line, but we'll talk about that later. So on your right there is a pillar, and you. Alright, so this pillar right here is about 130 feet. The difference between this one and the one right here is that the one on our left, or closer to our left, is covered up to about 30%. So you're only seeing the top 30% of this pillar, while on this one you see all of it. And the reason that we did this, we partnered with a company called Mother Recycling, and what they had done is that they needed somewhere to recycle inorganic materials, so concrete parts, robotics, all that stuff, Legos. They just got sent down here, and that's actually what we're driving on right now. So they had gone through and filled it all the way up, and that is one of the reasons why the Louisville Mega Cavern is the #1 green building in Kentucky.
Even with all those wildcats up above, this is still the safest place to be during any storm, hurricane, tornado, alien invasion, election season, or even an earthquake.
Rose is right. The limestone above our heads is strong enough to support the weight of every building in the city of Louisville. But it can still hold strong if you stacked 25 more cities on top of us. So we're not really sure why you'd want to do that.
The reason this is possible is due to the oceans that came and went over time, which left behind horizontal rock instead of vertical rock. Now, I'm a fan of both horizontal and vertical rock.
Alrighty guys, so as you can probably tell, we are in a light tunnel. This is our patriotic tunnel. It took 9 days to build, and it does run 24/7. So during Lights Under Louisville, you're not able to make any stops during anything, so I figured I would stop since I'm on the tram right now, and it'd be a really cool picture to have to hang up on the refrigerator or something like that. So if y'all want to take a quick photo, and then let me know when you're ready to go, then we'll start going, but I just want to make sure everybody had that chance to get a photo. Is everybody ready? I heard a no.
I don't know how light it is
Are we
when I
okay?
upload this, but it's really dark, and, inside a cave.
It's a cave. What can you expect?
Alrighty guys, so as we're exiting the light tunnel, you're gonna see what looks to be like a flying saucer or whatever. That is actually a light used by the miners back in the 30s. If we were to turn that on today, it would be the equivalent of looking into the sun. And this is because it would illuminate, about 120 feet instead of 30 feet. So I'm not gonna turn it on. You can turn it on, but I'm gonna drive away because I already have glasses and I'm just trying to see.
I think both genres have a lot to offer. Although overall, I'm more of an R&B person myself.
No, it's bluegrass all the way for me. Anyway, notice how it's raw and the field is flat and looks uniform. Neither the miners nor we flatten this field. It is a natural separation of the rock layers that allows them to move back and forth across one another
This
in an
cave is massive.
Vertical rock cannot allow the earth to move safely without destruction and will cause the ground to push up, resulting in a lot of destruction above ground. Now, we're at a depth of about 100 feet.
Alright, ladies and gentlemen. So they have just recently moved the tram route around, and we're gonna take a little detour. I'm gonna show you a couple other things real quick first, and then we'll go back to where we're supposed to be because I think all these things are really cool. So in front of you right now is where we keep all of the salt for the state of Kentucky, and that's about 190,000 tons. I like to think I know a little bit about road salt, and that's a lot. And the Rose and Ruby were just talking about how the ceiling is flat. A good example of this will be on your left as we drive by, that little opening on the pillar right there. That's a good example because if you look at it and you go up a little bit, there's going to be another dark layer of limestone. So if we were to just keep drilling up, all we would be doing is running into another layer of limestone. So it'd be limestone after limestone. Now, here in just a little bit, Rose and Ruby are going to be talking about some mining techniques. They're definitely really cool. I suggest everybody pays attention. Yeah. So we're just going to make it around this last turn, and then Rose and Ruby will start talking about some mining techniques for y'all.
I think it's limestone.
Limestone?
Yeah, limestone rocks.
That's a rock solid ton there, Ruby. Limestone from this mine is called
Mining?
You got it. Specifically, it was mined using something called the room and pillar method. This is where the crew moves forward, up, and down, blasting the rock in a way that it'll leave the pillars behind, creating rooms between the pillars. And as they work deeper and deeper into the rock.
Oh hey, this is the same method that I use every year when I clean my apartment.
I can vouch for that. But once the rock was successfully mined, it would be taken outside and crushed into little rocks. Big rocks. And really big rocks. Then it was shipped out to be used mostly at that time for the historic highway and interstate projects that were established to put Americans back to work after the Great Depression. Even the leftover dust from crushing the larger rocks was removed for uses such as adjusting the soil composition in fields and gardens for better vegetable and fruit nutrition.
Which sounds like a fancy way to say farming.
That's something we know a lot about here in Kentucky. Now, as we mentioned earlier, the miners moved forward into the earth to pull out the rock, but they also went up toward the surface and down further underground. Coming up on the right is a floor drill, just like the ones the miners would use. They
use these bad boys or bad girls because we are all about equality. Okay, they would use these bad boys or bad girls to drill holes in the floor, insert dynamite, and blast out sections of the rock, each time moving farther into the rock and deeper underground. We have lots of these old rusty relics here, like this one, but also picks, shovels, carts, and my boss. You do know he's going to hear this, right, Rudy? Of course. Coming up on your right, you will see another.
Alrighty, ladies and gentlemen, so on our left, not our right, apologies about that, they're going to be talking about roof bolts, and unfortunately our main roof bolt installer is having some issues getting started up, so we're not able to move it, and you really don't get to see the roof bolts at the exhibit, but don't worry, down at the water wall, you guys will figure out a little bit about that later, but I'm going to make sure to show you guys what the roof bolts look like, and I'm going to let the track play through so you can have an idea of what they do, but the main part is that when there is limestone in the ceiling that is deteriorating and becoming weaker, we have a team of archaeologists and industrial engineers come out once a year for an inspection, and they put some roof bolts into the ceiling. So what roof bolts do is that it connects with the other set of limestone above it, and then it reinforces it so it'll be able to be there for a lot longer. But I'm gonna let Rose and Ruby finish talking about that, and then we'll go from there.
Cool. This is the equipment the miners use to install roof bolts, which we call roof bolt installers. Roof bolts provide added stability and are mainly installed in the areas closest to the entrance of the cavern, where there's more chance of temperature change, which could allow water to seep between the layers of rock and freeze. And as we know from school, where we learn everything, sure, water expands as it freezes, which could cause the rock layers to loosen over time. To secure the rock layers to each other and to the surface, the miners drilled holes into the rock above, inserted a cylinder of adhesive, and then used these roof bolt installers to spin them at a very high rate of speed, causing significant amounts of friction. The resulting heat from that friction breaks open the tube of adhesive, and the glue quickly hardens and secures the bolt to the rock. Then the miners placed a square metal washer and a nut to the bottom of the bolt, pulling the layers of rock firmly together. Each of these bolts can hold up to 35 tons. That's the equivalent of the Space Shuttle Endeavour, or 5 T-Rex dinosaurs, or 3.5 school buses, or all the weight of adult responsibilities. And as we continue from this location, we are at a depth of approximately 120 feet under the surface, and we're moving out from under the Louisville Zoo and traveling under the Joe Creason Park Mansion property. Fun fact, Rose, some people think that mansion is haunted. More haunted than the cavern even? Oh no, nowhere is as haunted as the cavern.
Alrighty guys, so I don't know if you believe in ghosts or anything like that. I personally do not. So we have a manager here, his name is Jerry. He likes to come out and do morning inspections, and sometimes, he's got a bad back, and he just lets something out, get his head back in the game, loud noise. And I believe that's what's going on here. So, if you ever hear a scream or anything, that was our manager Jerry. Don't worry. Now you're probably wondering, hey Chandler, why is there a volleyball on my right? That's not volleyball, that's actually Wilson. He is here to signify that we are going back in time. So we're going to try and go all the way back to the 1960s when drive-in movies were a big thing, because we are actually going to see a drive-in movie. So right now, we're about 2000, 2001. We're about to head into the 1970s, quick little trip, and watch out, there's some bell-bottom jeans, don't worry, it may be a little spooky, but we'll be okay.
Department was tasked with the responsibility to ensure the safety of American citizens
The Cold War stretched from 1947 to 1991. After World War II, tensions between the United States and the Soviet Union had escalated to the point to which many worried that a nuclear war might erupt between the two superpowers.
Alrighty, so the little video we're about to watch is about 5 minutes long. It's very educational, so I recommend you guys watch it. I'm not here to make you watch it, but I definitely recommend it. And it'll be playing here in just a second, and yeah.
This is a radiological defense operations room, a nerve center for survival, which we hope we will never have to use. But since war could come, this room is ready, and so are others throughout the country. The USA, almost 3.5 million square miles, and at the other end of our scale of size, tiny dust-like particles. They too have a name, and the name is fallout, radioactive fallout. A large-scale nuclear attack on the United States could produce a patchwork pattern of fallout covering 2/3 of the nation. More than 2 million square miles in a single day. In this 2 million square miles, more than 100 million people living well beyond the destructive range of blast and heat could be subjected to dangerous or deadly amounts of radiation from fallout. Carried upward 15 miles or more by the mushroom cloud, spread laterally by shifting winds at all altitudes, fallout from a single thermonuclear blast could severely contaminate a 60-mile strip downwind from ground zero. 1,200 square miles within an hour of explosion. 4,000 square miles in 6 hours. All of us, even in small towns and on farms, live within fallout range of a likely target. Furthermore, since these targets are often only a few hundred miles apart, fallout patterns can overlap, intensifying the danger. Our efforts now to build a workable radiological defense will pay off richly by helping to deter aggression and by saving countless lives if nuclear attack should come.
Same thing still happens today, but we've just taken prominent foreign relations. The dangers of nuclear explosions extend far beyond the horrific damage of the initial blast. Nuclear fallout can cause lasting damage long after impact. Nuclear fallout refers to the leftover radiation generated by a nuclear bomb, and it can cause all kinds of problems like birth defects, acid rain, and cancer when people are exposed to it for long periods of time. Now, the best ways to avoid nuclear fallout is through eating gases, Don't engage in a nuclear war? Okay, so the second best way to avoid nuclear fallout is to hide underground, which if you remember from every other part of this tour is where we are. So during the Cold War, the United States government began establishing fallout shelters across the country to save as many citizens as possible in the event of a nuclear war.
This cavern served as one of those Cold War shelters. The Civil Defense Department compiled an exclusive list of 50,000 people who were allowed entry to the mega cavern to escape nuclear fallout. This list included one Colonel Sanders, because who wants to live in a world without fried chicken?
And would have included a cross-section of the population, including skilled laborers, doctors, scientists, and of course politicians, because who wants to live in a world without politicians?
The cavern was recognized as a highly desirable fallout shelter because it is so deep underground, and because the limestone roof above us is so strong. This cavern can not only provide shelter from radiation fallout, but it could also withstand the enormous impact of the initial blast. During the Cold War, Americans lived with the threat of nuclear war every day, and many built their own fallout shelters in their homes and backyards. This authentic public service announcement from the Cold War era.
Alrighty, so another thing that the audio likes to leave out is that 10% of everybody that did come down to the cavern were U.S. soldiers. And if you know a little about, like history and stuff, you would know that these are the incorrect uniforms. So we didn't have any uniforms from the Cold War, like, been able to show down here because cotton gets eaten away down here after a little bit. So, like, after 4 days of just sitting down here, it'll start to get eaten away and deteriorate. So we do have them in the incorrect uniforms, but they are polyester, and that is why there's a big difference in that. Also, they like to leave out the main source of protein during, their time down here would have been Spam. And I don't know if you like Spam, but by the end of, if you were sent down here, you were gonna like Spam. I don't think there was a debate about that. Yeah. Another thing that they like to have down here were these survival biscuits. And we actually do have a couple containers still in the visitor center that you can look at. They're next to the lockers where the restrooms are. And these survival biscuits were supposed to be good for 100 years. And we had asked one of the owners if we could open up a pack. So we tried it. And if you have ever smelled strong, wet paint, that is exactly how these biscuits tasted. I don't think they were good the day they went in there.
Coming up soon, you'll see Pillar 223 ahead in the distance.
Hit it with the light, Betty.
This is the final pillar that was created during mining, and it sits at a depth of 166 feet underground. This pillar marks the farthest point that the miners excavated. Shortly after pulling what they could from this area, they closed up shop in 1973.
Moving on from here, you will see 5 pictures that will show you what the cavern looks like in its final days after the miners finished excavation and extraction.
Alrighty guys, so I'm going to go through and tell you a little bit about each picture. That first picture is supposed to show what an average 6-foot person would look like in the cavern. Those are not Colonel Sanders wannabes, it's just to signify how tall the pillars were. The second picture, you're going to see an arrow pointing to what a lot of people think is a Native American spirit. But we have gone through and we investigated it because it did freak out a couple of the employees, and we figured out that it was a calcium deposit. So don't worry, that's what it is, it's just a calcium deposit. The third picture of this pillar right here is actually a picture of the pillar you're looking at. And the way we're able to tell is that right about here, there's that color change. And right down here is where that color change happens. So this is actually a picture of that pillar. The fourth picture right here is where the mine actually escaped. So back in 1972, before the miners had headed out, they had a team hear something, a loud crash, and they sent them to go investigate it. They shined their flashlights down there, and it just happened to be a lion. So they called the Louisville Zoo. They said, hey, one of your lions got out. Can you come get it? And they were like, no thanks. You can keep it. We got another one. But no, they came down and they figured out how it got in and we repaired it. Nothing like that has happened since, so don't worry. The last picture is actually pretty interesting as well. So the cavern had sat for about 10 years after the miners had left, before anyone had purchased it. And the city of Louisville wanted to sell it. So they had U of L come down and do a survey of the cavern. And as they were doing it, they were trying to figure out if they can get an underground shopping mall down here. Now, the person that wanted to purchase the cavern to do this only wanted to get, part of it, and the city wanted to sell it as wholesale. So he did not get the cavern. We ended up with it, and we have done, zip lines and all that other stuff down here. But I wonder what an underground shopping mall would be like. I would assume it'd be like the above ground ones, but you never know. It could be different. And then on our left is actually, so we have a bunch of multicolored lights down here. This is just to show what the miners would see, like while the light, with what light they were using. And this is what the pillars would look like for them, as they're not painted or anything like that.
Along this stretch of the cavern, we will be covering the entire length of the Louisville Zoo above us, from north to south. The Louisville Zoo has exotic animals from all over the world, but do you know what it does have?
A civil defense shelter.
Horses, specifically the best kind of horses, Kentucky Thoroughbreds.
Kentucky Thoroughbreds eat something special that makes them such strong, superb athletes. Any guesses what that is, Rose? Horse food? You're not wrong. Specifically, they eat that good old Kentucky bluegrass. Because as famous horse breeder Steve Stewart once said, not all grass is created equal. That's because the bluegrass those horses eat and the water they drink is supplemented by all this strong Kentucky limestone.
The water that passes through the limestone shelf that lies beneath the bluegrass estate ends up in the pastures, soil, and streams and provides Kentucky horses with a high dose of nutrients and minerals, specifically calcium. The calcium in our water helps Kentucky horses build strong bones, resulting in increased agility, higher speeds, and a massive influx of visitors around the first weekend in May.
That's right, Rose. The Kentucky Derby is held the first Saturday in May right here in Louisville. The only place where people will party for 2 weeks for a 2-minute horse race. About 150,000 people attend the Kentucky Derby every year.
Alrighty, everybody.
Okay.
I just wanted to let you all know that we are going to be going down a little hill. I'm just letting you know because it's going to get a little bumpy. I'm going to go slow so it shouldn't be too rough, but I'm just letting you guys know so you're aware. And just don't worry, sit back, relax, seatbelts on, all that good stuff, and Rose, we're just going to keep talking.
It's impressive. Let's talk about the other most important time of the year in Louisville.
Wait, why would they want to hear about my birthday?
Randy, I'm talking about the holiday season.
So, right in front of us, we got some of our salt trucks coming through. They're actually putting in more salt from when we had used it all up over the winter. We're gonna talk more about that here in a little bit, but that's what they're doing. That's why they're down here.
Holiday season from mid-November through the month of December. The Mega Cavern is host to the world-renowned Christmas light show, Lights Under Louisville. Lights Under Louisville is the only time when the public has the chance to drive their own car through the cavern. We have more visitors here at Lights Under Louisville than attend the Kentucky Derby.
Well, to be fair, the Derby lasts 2 minutes. Lights Under Louisville is 6 weeks.
Don't ruin this for me.
Coming up on your left.
Alright, you guys. So, we're just gonna talk about some fossils real quick. So, here in the cavern, we see a multitude of different animals. But we also see a lot of fossils, so we see salamanders, turtles, horseshoe crabs, fish, all that good stuff. And there was this one fish fossil in particular that the other tram driver, Garrett, had found. And this was a 9-foot long fish fossil, and it had its mouth wide open, and it was about to eat a small fish. And this fossil was really cool. All right. And one of the owners, his name is Jim. He was, he's a fossil collector, a connoisseur, if you will. And he had heard that Garrett was showing, this fossil off on his tram tours, and he had wanted to see it. So Garrett took him out, and he showed him a fake, fossil. It was about 5 feet long, which ain't bad, but it's not no 9-foot fish fossil. And so he was like, Garrett, you gotta show me where the real one is. So Garrett went and showed him. He didn't seem too interested in it, which was really good for Garrett. But 3 weeks later, Garrett had came out to do his tram tour, and his fish fossil was gone. It, just a plastic sheet over it, just gone. And we had recently found out that Jim had put it over his fireplace, and it is on his mantle, and we only assume that he just, sits there and laughs at it, Yeah, that's what happened to Garrett's 9-foot fish fossil. So if we ever see any more fossils, we're just going to keep to the tram tour. We're not going to let any of the other guys know.
Display that will stay lit all year long, and just one of over 900 displays and only a few of the more than 3.5 million points of light that will make up this year's 2019 show.
See what it is? It's horses at the Kentucky Derby.
It's almost like we meticulously timed this entire thing.
No, right? If you came back during the light show to take this tram tour, it would look much different. During Lights Under Louisville, this tram transforms into the Christmas Express and whisks people away
At 5 miles per hour.
through our stunning light show and into our beautiful winter wonderland for complimentary cookies and milk at Santa's house. And sometimes we even see the big guy himself. Year after year, Lights Under Louisville is rated one of the best holiday shows in the nation by the people whose job it is to decide these things.
And apparently those people work at CNN, Southern Living, the Travel Channel, USA Today, and many more.
Doesn't that just make your jingle jolly?
It sure does. The show starts every year, a week before Thanksgiving. So consider stopping by if you're in town and start a new holiday tradition.
You know what my favorite holiday tradition is, Rose?
What's that, Ruby?
Staying inside where it's warm.
Oh, well, you can just stay here then, because we're so deep underground, the temperature in the cavern stays around 60 degrees all year long.
Okay, your idea of warm is way different than mine. Lights Under Louisville is open 7 days per week, every evening during its seasonal run. Rain, sleet, or snow can't stop us, and chances are they won't stop you. Because you'll see up here on the right that all the salt used to treat the roads of Kentucky is stored right here in the Louisville Mega Cavern.
Louisville is a beautiful and thriving city today, but back in the mid-90s, we were still a little wet behind the ears, and cold behind the ears. The great winter storm of '94 blew through and dumped between 9 and 16 inches of ice and snow across the city.
The storm left thousands without power, including me, and stranded many people on impassable roads and interstates. The only thing driven home that night was the realization just how important it is to be prepared for extreme weather. And it left many people pretty salty.
As part of that preparation, the city government knew they would need to keep large amounts of salt on hand to treat the roads and prepare for the unexpected. There's only one place in the area big enough to hold that much salt, and you have 2 guesses where it is. The salt stored here in the cavern is used as a backup reserve to refill the limited on-hand supply kept above ground. When they start to run out up there, or Or if there's a particularly nasty storm predicted, this is where they come to stock up.
So, I have an idea.
Oh no, what's that, Ruby?
3 words. Underground margarita party.
We have those.
Not a bad idea, but what about the kids?
Underground pretzel party.
We also have those.
Back.
Alrighty guys, and a little bit more about the salt. The main reason why we had gotten it was that, back in the winter storm of '94, UPS had lost a lot of money because of the city of Louisville didn't salt the roads very quickly. And we have the largest UPS center in the world. It's called Worldport. And the main reason why we had gotten it was because they had threatened to move the Worldport location to either Chicago or Seattle, somewhere where they were a lot more proficient with salting the roads and everything. And the city of Louisville called us and asked, hey, can we keep all of the salt down here so when we need it, we won't have to go too far and we can make sure that, UPS will stay. So that's the main reason why we have gotten the road salt down here. So Rose and Ruby are going to be talking about our mega map, and they're going to ask you to guess what kind of, what it looks like. And if you can guess the same thing I guess, you'll be the first person to ever do it. And, I might get you an ice cream, I might not, we will see. But I have to hear the person say exactly what I'm thinking, alright? And there will be one person, so that'll get the ice cream if they get ice cream. So here's the map wall. You all can look at it. Rose and Ruby are going to talk for a little bit. They're going to ask you to say your answers aloud, and then
Are the only critters we see in the cavern on a regular basis. But don't worry, we haven't had a vampire outbreak in weeks.
Wait, that last one was a mean little sucker. Take a look at this map of the cavern. Hey kids, what animal does this look like to you? Shout it out.
Alright, what else do we see? I heard a bat. What else? Okay, an eagle. Okay. I'm gonna let Rose and Ruby tell you what they think it looks like, and I'll tell you what I think it looks like.
Great answers. I personally think it looks like a bat. Isn't it?
So, I like to think it looks like 2 fried eggs. So if you look in the left corner, you'll see the first one, and then the right one is where they meet. So that's what I think it looks like, 2 fried eggs. If you flip it over, it'll kind of look like a moose. If you flip it back over, it kind of looks like the Louisville Mega Cabin, but that's kind of up in the air.
Middle of the map, at the bottom, are the only entrances and exits to the cavern, and all those odd, varying shapes within the body are the 223 pillars that support the weight of the ground above.
We just passed Pillar 101, reached by the mining crew in 1964. This was the same year the 88th Congress of the United States declared bourbon a distinctive product and that it could not be produced outside of the United States.
Which is like the one thing they've gotten really right.
That's for sure, Rose.
As we begin the final stage of the tour, we'll be going back in time as we retrace our steps to the miner's original point of entry. Limestone dust can be found in our school bus windows, in the chalk school teachers use, in the cement mixed for the roads we travel on. We even brush our teeth with it as an additive to our toothpaste.
That's right. It's basically a food group.
And of course, it can be found in what is thought to be the main component of our diet here in Kentucky.
Bourbon.
Alrighty guys, so Rose and Ruby are going to be talking about our bike park, which we unfortunately do not have anymore. What had happened was a lot of people thought they were daredevils, and turns out they're not. So we just wanted to make sure everybody was staying safe. But on your right there is where that used to be. It's about 10 acres long, and you know, I'm trying to convince the management team to put something new back here. Maybe go-karts, some mini golf, laser tag, something like that. So if you guys have any cool ideas, you know, let me know and I'll pitch it to them. Yeah.
Look toward the bright lights to your right. That, ladies and gentlemen, is the largest indoor bike park in the world. More than 5 times larger than any other indoor bike park. And
Alrighty guys, I just want to make sure everyone's having a good time. That's because before you guys, the only fan I had was this big one on the right. And I like to think they're my biggest fan, but you never know.
the park caters to anyone looking for some adventure that is on the ground.
Bring your bike and helmet or rent them and go for a ride. It's a great workout and a good opportunity for some quality family time. If you don't like to pedal, I understand. I don't either. That's why I'm hitching a ride with you folks.
You can join one of a kind electric that bike tour that shows all the incredible sights and allows for a more personal one-on-one experience from our guides.
Now, everyone, look over here to your left.
On your left is a really cool fire extinguisher. Didn't want you to miss out on it. Probably the coolest thing we have down here. But no, that's besides the point. So we're heading back towards the visitor center. Don't worry, the tour's not over just yet. Because we have seen the adventure side of things. Now we're going to go see the business side of things. But I just want to let you all know that one of the other tour guides, his name is Don. He always says there's a fork in the road, take it. Unfortunately for him, he's never found a fork in the road. He's found a spoon on the tram route, a hat, a couple binkies, you know, and he's just got a little wall of things that he's found on the tram route. So if you drop anything and you lose it, and you come back and it's on here, I mean, it's yours. You can just take it. But there's just a bunch of different random things over here that he has found, and yeah. Alrighty, everybody. We look to our right, that's our visitor center, and on those stairs right there is Miss Haley. She's actually one of our managers here, so everybody make sure you say what's up, Haley, as she's working super hard. Alright. Now, the first thing you probably notice over here in the adventure side of things is that it's not as bumpy. That's because I went to, you know, Jerry, Haley, and I was like, hey guys, I don't like driving over, you know, a bunch of bumpy stuff. And they're like, okay, Jen, we'll put some concrete down for you. And they put concrete down. So that's the big difference between this side and the other side, is that we have concrete over here. Now, another thing that you're probably noticing is that there's not that many lights. So we don't have a lot of lights here because, like I said before, we are the #1 green building in Kentucky. And a way we help, you know, keep that title is that we have painted all of the pillars over here white, because white is like reflecting on light. So we use that to help illuminate the cavern so we can see a lot more. And yeah, so Rose and Ruby are going to talk a little bit more about the business part, and then we're going to talk about some water.
Where some of the world's biggest brands store their most important assets, it's right here in the Louisville Cavern, one of the best locations in the world to store valuable items. We even have actual companies that spend their entire workday underground. We store personal items such as cars, boats, and RVs. But we also store one-of-a-kind, original, priceless art pieces, irreplaceable sports memorabilia from some of the world's greatest athletes, historical artifacts from Colonel Sanders himself, and original films from Batman to Gone with the Wind, and so much more. I wouldn't be surprised if we stumbled upon the Chamber of Secrets down here. The cavern provides natural climate control, perfect for keeping these items in tip-top shape. And we use LED lighting to
everybody. So on your right is one of our employees. His name is Michael, and it's actually his birthday today, so make sure you say happy birthday to him. It's a big day. And then on your left and right is actually where we repair everything for the lights on our Louisville. This is Miss Carrie. She does all of it. She fixes the lights, puts it all together and all that good stuff. So make sure you say hey to her. She's working hard right now getting ready for lights on our Louisville. Alright, coming up on your left is vehicle pickup. So when everybody rents or keeps a boat or anything down here, this is where we'll put it when we need to pick it up. And if you look all the way down to that far wall, you're going to see a building number 2. Building number 2 is the old visitor center, and it's actually attached to pillar number 2, which is the second oldest pillar in the cavern. So now we're going to talk about some water, and then after that I'm going to show you some roof bolts, and then we'll go from there.
Well,
Water is a vital part of our lives. Every natural cave or man-made cavern has a close relationship with water, and this cavern is no exception. 69 feet below the cavern floor runs a little spring. As water from the surface moves down through the rock, some collect in this spring. From what we can tell, this is the same spring that travels under a significant length of the cavern and feeds primarily on the water tools, which continue to collect water inside the cavern daily. I don't know what this little spring plans to do with all that water once it has enough collected, but I bet it'll either get you tipsy or make you run really fast.
Alright, and another cool thing about the water down here is that the limestone works as a natural Brita, so it is 90% pure, and that last 10% is full of magnesium. So with it being natural Brita, all these different colors on this water wall is actually different minerals. So the white right here is calcium, and the dark color is aragonite, and there's just a bunch of different other minerals out here. Now up here on the ceiling is where most of our roof bolts are. So these were installed back in like 1960s. So yeah, these are our roof bolts, and they're to reinforce the ceiling by connecting it to a above layer of limestone. Now talking about how the water is 90% pure, you're probably thinking, hey Chandler, can I drink the water? I would say no, like I don't recommend it. This is mainly because we had an employee, his name was Chris, and he bet $20 that he can drink a whole cup of water and be perfectly fine. Well, we try to talk him out of it because I don't know if you've ever consumed a lot of magnesium, but when you do, it works as a natural laxative. And we were trying to talk him out of it. We're like, hey Chris, not a good idea. And he's like, nah guys, I can do it, don't worry. So we said, okay. We gave him the money, he drank the entire cup, and about 10 minutes later, we got what we were looking for. He had to go home that day and call in for the next 3 days. He came back, he was about 17 pounds lighter, so I don't know about you, but that sounds like the worst 3 days ever. So if you ever ask to drink the water, I'm going to try and tell you no, but if you still insist, I'm going to make a bet with you, and then we'll go from there.
Realized in the 1970s, all good things come to an end. It has been a pleasure having you as our guest today, and we hope you had a fun and informative time.
Here at the Louisville Cavern, we are very proud of our reputation as a choice destination for families and guests of all ages, and we highly value your feedback.
If there's something you wish you had learned today, besides information about limestone, water, horses, bourbon, geology, nuclear war, bourbon, history, roof bolt installers, or bourbon, or if you just want to tell us we did a great job, please consider leaving a review on TripAdvisor.
With that being said, if you do want to leave a review, awesome. I just hope it's positive. If it is positive, my name's Chandler. If it's not positive, my name's Chip. Don't worry, I understand.
And if you enjoyed today's tour, please mention
Chandler.
if
our training tour. Please stay seated until I put the footstools out. I don't want anyone to trip or get hurt or anything, so please stay seated until those get all around the tram so you guys can step out safely. The tour guides do accept tips. Nothing's expected, but everything's appreciated. Yeah, so all I care about is if you guys had fun. Hopefully you did, because I know I did. You guys were a pretty fun group. And yeah, so once I park it, there's footstools out for you all, and you're going to hop off. But until then, please get seated and just listen to this very relaxing